Winter rarely harms dogs in ways you can immediately see. There's no sudden warning, no clear moment where something obviously goes wrong. What winter does is quieter. Canine behavior research shows that dogs respond to seasonal stress through gradual physical and behavioral adjustment, not sudden distress. Their bodies compensate long before they signal discomfort. Cold months slowly change how a dog holds warmth, how joints respond after rest, how safe and settled their environment feels day after day. Most winter-related strain doesn't come from neglect. It comes from love, from human comfort habits applied to a body that works very differently. Dogs don't complain when something feels off. They don't explain discomfort. They adjust, and that's why these mistakes are easy to miss. If you care about noticing the signs dogs don't explain, this is where those moments get clearer. Because the first mistake begins inside your home, in a place that feels comfortable to you, but not always to them. Mistake number 9, turning the house too warm without realizing it. A warm home feels comforting to people. For dogs, it can quietly create stress. Indoor heating strips moisture from the air. That dryness affects a dog's skin first, then their breathing. Nasal passages feel irritated, thirst increases, sleep becomes lighter. Dogs don't cool themselves the way humans do. They can't release heat efficiently in sealed, heated rooms. So instead of showing discomfort clearly, their body compensates. You may notice more scratching, more trips to the water bowl, restlessness after dark. Panting indoors isn't always excitement or play. Often, it's the body trying to regain balance. What feels cozy to us can feel overstimulating to them. A slightly cooler, balanced indoor temperature allows a dog's system to settle instead of constantly adjusting just to stay comfortable. Mistake number 8, letting dogs sleep on cold floors. Cold floors don't seem dangerous, but during long periods of rest, they quietly drain warmth from the body. When a dog sleeps on tile, concrete, or bare hardwood, heat is pulled directly from muscles and joints. Circulation slows, tissues stiffen. Dogs rarely signal this discomfort at night. They don't wake you, they don't complain. Instead, you see it later. Slower movement in the morning, extra stretching before standing, a brief pause before walking normally. Smaller dogs and older dogs feel this first, but no dog is immune. Over time, repeated heat loss during rest adds strain to joints that already work hard every day. A raised or insulated sleeping surface isn't about comfort luxury. It's about protecting the body while it recovers, when warmth matters most. Mistake number 7, overlayering dogs indoors. It's easy to assume more layers equal more protection. But dogs regulate temperature through their coat and skin airflow, not insulation like ours. Heavy indoor clothing interferes with that process. Heat builds up, moisture gets trapped, air can't circulate. That damp, warm environment irritates skin quietly and persistently. If a dog pants while wearing clothes indoors, that's not relaxation. It's the body signaling overload. Light protection outdoors can be helpful in cold weather. Indoors, most dogs regulate best when their coat can breathe naturally. When we step back, the body often does its job better on its own. Sometimes the most supportive choice isn't adding more. It's allowing the dog's natural systems to work without interference. Mistake number 6, reducing daily movement too much. Cold weather often shrinks a dog's world. Walks get shorter, time outside decreases. Stillness fills the day, but a dog's body relies on movement to stay balanced and comfortable. Motion keeps joints flexible. It supports healthy circulation. It allows built-up tension to release naturally. When daily movement drops, the body begins to tighten. Muscles cool faster. Joints feel stiffer after rest. Energy has nowhere to settle. That unused energy doesn't disappear. It surfaces in quiet ways. Pacing around the house, restlessness before sleep, sudden barking, or chewing that seems to come from nowhere. These aren't discipline problems or attention-seeking behaviors. They're signs the body hasn't had enough opportunity to reset. Dogs don't need long winter hikes to stay regulated. They need consistency. Short walks, gentle play, or simple indoor movement still matter. Regular motion warms the body from the inside and helps the nervous system settle. Without it, discomfort builds quietly. one still day at a time. Mistake number 5. Cutting walks short without replacing stimulation. Short walks alone aren't the problem. What's missing is engagement. Dogs rely on daily stimulation to keep their system active, not just physical movement, but mental input. When walks become rushed, repetitive, or purely functional, the body slows down. Energy output drops. Metabolism follows. Weight can add without notice. Mood can flatten without warning. A dog that appears calmer may not be more content. They may simply be understimulated. Without enough engagement, energy has no outlet. It turns inward or spills out at the wrong times. Indoor games, scent-based activities, or brief training sessions replace what winter takes away. They keep the brain working and the body responsive. Stimulation isn't extra. It's part of how a dog stays balanced when outdoor routines change. None of these mistakes happen because people don't care. They happen because winter changes routines, and dogs adapt quietly. We adjust for comfort. Dogs adjust to what continues. Dogs don't need perfect routines. They need thoughtful ones. Awareness matters more than effort. Small shifts create real relief. Once you understand how winter feels inside your dog's body, the next adjustments become simpler and far more effective. If your goal is helping your dog feel safe and comfortable, these quiet details make all the difference. Mistake number 4. Keeping indoor air sealed all winter. A sealed home feels warmer and more comfortable, but it also traps what your dog breathes all day. Dust settles, dander builds up, heater byproducts linger in the air. Dogs inhale closer to the ground, where these particles concentrate. Hour after hour, their airways process the same stale mix. Nothing dramatic happens, but irritation builds slowly. Breathing may feel slightly strained, not enough to cause alarm, enough to affect comfort. You might notice small changes, an occasional cough, sneezing that wasn't common before, subtle throat clearing during rest. These aren't sudden illnesses or seasonal problems. They're the body responding to air that hasn't refreshed. Letting in fresh air doesn't mean turning your home cold. Even a few minutes of ventilation can reduce buildup and restore oxygen balance. Cleaner air supports smoother breathing, deeper sleep, and calmer nights. It's one of the easiest winter adjustments to make, and one of the most overlooked. Mistake number 3. Skipping grooming because it's cold. Cold weather often makes grooming feel unnecessary. Walks are shorter. Time indoors increases. Brushing quietly slips down the priority list. But winter is when a dog's coat needs attention the most. When grooming is skipped, loose fur compresses into dense layers. Airflow disappears. Moisture from normal body heat and humidity stays trapped against the skin. That trapped dampness slowly pulls warmth away from the body. Skin remains cool for long stretches. Irritation builds without being obvious. Most dogs don't react immediately. They don't scratch non-stop or show clear discomfort. They tolerate it quietly. Over time, the coat stops insulating the way it should. Instead of protecting, it begins holding cold and moisture close to the body. Comfort drops, even though nothing looks visibly wrong. Regular brushing interrupts that cycle. It lifts the coat, restores airflow, encourages healthy circulation at the skin surface. Even a few minutes helps the body regulate warmth more efficiently. Winter grooming isn't about appearance. It's about keeping the coat functional as protection, not a hidden source of ongoing discomfort. Mistake number 2. Ignoring quiet behavioral changes. This mistake creates more long-term strain than almost any other. Not because it's hidden, but because it's misunderstood. A dog plays a little less, sleeps a little more, shows less interest in interaction. To many owners, this looks like calm, or maturity, or simply slowing down. But often, it's the body conserving energy. Dogs don't exaggerate discomfort or seek attention for it. They simplify their behavior. They reduce movement. They rest longer. They pull inward just enough to cope. This isn't laziness, it's adaptation. When warmth is harder to maintain, when joints feel stiffer, or when routines shift, the body lowers output to protect itself. The risk isn't the change itself, it's ignoring it. Because when these quiet signals go unnoticed, small discomforts deepen into stiffness, stress, and emotional withdrawal. Dogs never announce when something feels off. They adjust. And that's why these signs matter more than the loud ones. Mistake number 1, treating winter as a season to wait out. The most damaging winter habit isn't one obvious mistake. It's waiting. Waiting for warmer days, waiting for spring to arrive, waiting for routines to feel normal again without making any changes. While we wait, small stresses quietly accumulate. Cold surfaces during rest slowly drain warmth from the body. Dry indoor air irritates skin and breathing. Daily movement drops. Mental stimulation fades. Each of these feels manageable on its own. Together, they place steady pressure on the body. Dogs don't reset automatically when seasons change. They adjust to whatever continues day after day. When winter discomfort becomes routine, the body adapts around it. Muscles stay tight, energy lowers. The system shifts into conservation instead of comfort. Seasonal care isn't about enduring a few cold months or simply getting through them. It's about responding as conditions change, gently, consistently, and on purpose. When routines shift with the season, comfort is protected, and winter stops being something your dog has to tolerate. The bottom line: awareness over fear. Winter doesn't require panic, fear, or constant worry. What it really requires is awareness. Dogs don't need dramatic changes or endless adjustments. They need comfort that matches how their body actually works, how it holds warmth, how it recovers during rest, how it responds when daily routines shift with the season. Small, thoughtful changes matter far more than big reactions. A warmer resting space, a bit more movement, cleaner air, consistent attention. When routines adapt instead of staying fixed, winter stops being something your dog simply has to get through. It becomes predictable, supportive, easier on the body. If understanding your dog beyond surface behavior matters to you, staying connected can help you notice the quiet signs before they turn into real discomfort. Because protecting your dog's health isn't about doing more. It's about noticing what they can't explain.